We had 18 months to develop a car.
Hello everyone and welcome to my educational portal. This week I am honored to be welcoming Wilhelm Urbanovych. Will is currently the deputy boutique manager at Lange Söhne's boutique in Berlin, Germany. I've interviewed Will before and I published his interview as an article back then. But I caught myself watching the interview again and again and again and again, to the point where I thought that I have to put this interview out in its full video format. And I will be doing this with other interviews as well. I will be doing remakes because I have developed with my platform to the point where I believe some of them have to be placed out there as videos. But I don't want to go into a tangent here. Briefly, Lange Söhne was founded in 1845 by Ferdinand Adolph Lange in Glashütte, Kingdom of Saxony, and it has a almost 200-year-old fascinating heritage. It's considered among the elites in the luxury timepiece world. What can I say? This interview fascinated me, partly because I was always mesmerized by the small mechanical wonders from luxury timepiece manufacturers. I was fascinated by this interview partly because of how soft-spoken, gentle-like, intensely passionate Will is. And I sincerely thought, well, I have to put this out in video format. It's very difficult for me, as you can see, to express Will's passion, and I believe he doesn't do any justice to what he has to say and had to say back in this interview. So I just want to close this introduction and let Will speak his reality. I hope you enjoy.
The name of Lange Söhne is surrounded by certain myth and reverence. So if you are working for such a company, there are certainly some special expectations. I just had the idea to share my passion and love for this subject with people. And if there is the possibility to do to make a living out of it, why not? So, you are not exactly thinking about this very holy part of your life. To do this professionally. I think watches from Lange Söhne are really small mechanical evidences of just limitless human abilities. Lange Söhne is, what can I say? I think if you are a watch lover, then there is probably no better company to work for than Lange Söhne.
Why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you want to go into management, luxury goods, watch sales and advisory? Why did you want to do that?
To be honest, I don't think that the source of my inspiration was the admiring of the luxury industry. First of all, it were indeed wristwatches. because my fascination with wristwatches started in my early years, and I spent almost the whole spare time with the wristwatches. And over the time, I just had the idea to share my passion and love for this subject with people. And if there is the possibility to do to make a living out of it, why not?
It's
So
a
this was
very pure intention you have. Extremely pure
yes,
intention.
indeed, yes. I never thought, to be honest. I heard about, as we all did. I heard a lot about this idea of working within your hobbies, but it seemed to me somehow romanticized and unrealistic. But then it worked out for me. I started my first job. This is also the part of your first question about the Allgäu resort. And this was my first entry-level position after I finished my study in the hotel business. My degree is management assistant for hotel administration. And when I finished the study in 2017, I started this entry-level position as a front officer at Allgäu Resort. It's a lovely hotel in Bavarian Alps. So the surroundings are very beautiful.
It's extremely
However,
beautiful. Yes.
yeah, it's very nice. So I had also the chance to live in Bavaria near the Alps. I can only recommend. Yeah. So I started this job, and the thing is that although we had a lot of leisure guests, we also had strong focus on business guests and being a venue for conferences. And after almost 2 years of very intensive contact to especially business guests and people who are working in the sales management field, I received a lot of insight into this industry, and basically I saw these people every day for multiple hours, and it was very inspiring for me what they were doing, what they were talking about. I always examined their business cards. I gathered their business cards, and yeah, I already by then I drawed some possible future scenarios for myself. And after that, I saw that I want to start my career in sales. The sales were as well the part of my job in Allgäu Resort, because I'm not only was welcoming people and taking care of them and preparing the invoices and all the administrative stuff, but I was indeed also actually selling the hotel rooms, upselling, and it was very very interesting for me, because there is always this nice portion of adrenaline that is connected to sales, and this is naturally, I think. So this was the reason why I decided to start a job in sales. So the entry for that was IHG, and this is a well, this job has probably the strongest contrast among others in my CV, because this is a trader of steel and metal with a B2B sales model. So here my role was the processing of inquiries and quoting, but also the offer requesting from the suppliers and the creation of the offers. But since the B2B model in combination of the supply of industrial steel proved to me as less emotional, I decided to move on. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, the how everything started was the idea working in the watch industry was just this was the input from my wife, to be honest, because she said to me, you know, you love watches, and this is your topic since years. Actually, your whole spare time is filled with wristwatches, so maybe it would be a good idea starting working in this field. What do you think about that? And to be honest, this was so evident that I never thought about that, because for me, wristwatches were always the source of getting energy for my professional part of the life, and you are not exactly thinking about this very like holy part of your life to do this professionally. So it was very unexpected, and because it was very evident, and Buchara was looking for a new sales advisor in Munich. So I applied for the job and received the reply very quickly. The thing is with Buchara also that the requirements for the job were actually that you have the education in retail and multi-year experience in selling luxury watches. But at that moment, I didn't have neither the one nor the other. But because of my background in working in the high-level hotel business with guests, taking care of them, and also the fact that at that point of interview, I was already for 10 years in the watch hobby. It helped, and it made my entry into this business very soft. So it worked out. Of course, it was very special moment for me because before I of course visited Bukhara, for example, but not with an idea working for them. I visited Bukhara just out of interest. What are they offering? What watches are they having? And now applying for the job at this company was definitely something special for me, very special moment. On the part of the watch knowledge, I was very self-confident because I knew that I'm very firm in this field. But of course, working in sales with people face to face was completely new concept for me, because also at EHG, I was working in the inner sales, so I was selling on the phone or via emails. This is something completely different. So I was very curious how it will work out for me, but it worked out very well. Regarding the watch knowledge, I have to be honest, already literally after the first week of my job at Bukhara, I was giving trainings to the colleagues who were for years in the industry. But this was and it's clear for me, I have no illusions regarding that. It was only possible because watches are also my passion. Otherwise, it would have not been possible in that time, in that manner, with that speed. I have no illusions regarding that. And then the chance appeared to work for IWC. Buchera gave me this ticket into this very special and very small and niche and exclusive industry, and I'll be always thankful for that. But Buchera also gave me the understanding that offering 20 different or over 20 different brands, it would be even better to be able to concentrate on one brand, because watches are about details, and being able to deep dive into one single brand and being able to work for the manufacturer directly, for me personally, is a pinnacle in this business. Because one thing is if you are working for a reseller, basically, and the other is if you work for the manufacturer directly. So when the chance appeared, I knew I have to be quickly, and my change to IWC worked very smooth. IWC is the part of Richemont Group, and Richemont Group, in my opinion, is probably the strongest player in the retail business of luxury watches. If you want to know how the opening of new state-of-the-art boutique is working, just look at what Richemont is doing. Richemont also has very strong profile of historically important and influent brands. So of course, I had to change to Richemont, especially since the chance doing so was there. Yeah, this was basically the part where I changed to IWC, to the single brand boutique, and my expectations proved to be 100% correct. I was able to deep dive into this one brand. The level of training is second to none. It's very deep, and I have to be honest, in my opinion, things that you are able to learn at such companies like IWC are much more valuable than the things that you are learning at schools or colleges or universities.
In what context do you mean that? How does that happen?
Well, it starts with the obvious thing. IWC has very strong training center where you are trained being excellent host. This is something relevant, especially for people who don't have this hotel business background, and this is probably 90% of people who are working in the wristwatch industry, but also the level of training material for the subject, for the watches, is very, very high, because the source for the information is among others, the museum of IWC, and IWC has very strong curator in this museum. So the knowledge that you are sourcing there is without alternatives. But also, of course, what I mean by very valuable informations and trainings is you are being trained how to conduct your selling ceremony, for example. And this is something you will never experience in this quality at a, let's say, university, because the knowledge that you are getting there is based on 100% real and alleged experience in the field. And then these experiences are analyzed by the top professionals in their business. So
there is direct input and output in the training center, like direct.
yes.
Is
Exactly.
it possible for, let's say, an undergraduate or graduate student to have some superficial training in these kind of centers?
I think that you are only getting the training in the center if you already got the job. Because otherwise a lot of informations are
Can be leaked.
right. They are very internal. So I suppose that you are only getting the access to these informations if you're already in. So it's like small conspirative cycle, you know.
I mean, I think this is the good element of any job as well, because you feel as if you're a spy. You know the information that no one else can know, and you cannot share it, of course. I would die to know about that information. I can't, but I will settle. I'm not going to be greedy. So, how did the transition to Lange and Söhne happen as deputy boutique manager? How did that happen? Because I'm sure it must have been a dream of yours to do that.
Definitely. So Lange und Söhne is what can I say? I think if you are a watch lover, then there is probably no better company to work for than Lange und Söhne. There may be some 2 or 3 other companies that are great in what they are doing, but I think if you combine not only the product but also the image of the company and also the qualities of the company as an employer, basically, then I think there is no better brand than Lange und Söhne for people who are looking for a job in this industry. Lange und Söhne had one boutique in Dresden, so one direct boutique. There is also one boutique in Munich, but this is operated by Wempe. And then I heard that Lange und Söhne will open new boutique in Berlin. And this is really a big deal because such companies do not have boutiques in every city. And when they open something new, it's a very rare occasion. I was enjoying my work in IWC, but of course I wanted to go further. I wanted to grow. I love Berlin. I visited Berlin multiple times, and this was a dream of mine to live in Berlin. So when basically the possibility appeared to work in Berlin for Lange und Söhne as deputy boutique manager, I had the chance to take 3 advantages at one time. Berlin, Lange und Söhne, deputy manager, fantastic. So I applied internally for the job, and the process was very quickly. I received the chance working for the brand. I was very happy. I recall that moment. I had the job interview in Munich, and then on the next day I left to Düsseldorf because I had my vacation, and then I received the call in Düsseldorf when my wife and I were walking across the bridge. I received the call from the HR, department that I got the job.
How did you feel
I
about
was just out of my mind. I was very happy, like crazy. And working for Lange Söhne is definitely something special because this is a brand which is one of the best, among the best in the luxury watch industry. The name of Lange Söhne is surrounded by certain myth and reverence. So if you are working for such a company, there are certainly some special expectations. It presupposes that you are willing to develop yourself constantly and that you are willing to strive for perfection every day, more and more, no matter how good are things running already. And I think it also corresponds perfectly to the slogan of the brand, never stand still. The thing is also that our watchmakers are spending countless hours to perfect the watches and also their art of watch finishing. And then later, when the watches are leaving the manufactory, then the retail, this is our turn, the turn of retail. And of course, if you know that already a great amount of work went into these watches, you know that you have to correspond to that somehow. So the expectations are very high, and you know that the boutique experience for the customers has to be the same as the watches. Otherwise, you will just betray the watchmakers, and their precious work will be wasted. And this actually means a lot. When I'm holding our watches in my hands, which are often unrivaled and have no alternatives in the business, when I see this perfection, I just clearly understand what is expected from myself. Because if these people are able to create these miracles, then we in retail also have to do so. And I think watches from Lange Söhne are really small mechanical evidences of just limitless human abilities.
The first watch that I saw from Lange Söhne was the 1815, a couple of years ago, and I didn't know the brand at the moment because I have studied in Dresden for 2 years.
Ah, really? Nice.
And yes, and I
And a
felt I was
technical
like,
university?
it was Dresden Technical University.
Yes, right.
And it's a little bit of shame because now I'm in the UK and I haven't spoken German in like 2 or 3 years, and I used to speak perfect German, and now it fades away a little bit, and I hate it. I don't like it at all.
You have to
But
practice.
I have to because I don't want to forget it. But back to my original point, I learned about the 1815 and that Lange Söhne was founded in Dresden, and I felt so bad that I didn't know this happened in the city where I was studying, basically. And here, being able to, like, slightly pull the veil over this, because interviews like this, I don't think they're very common, and not a lot of people have access to individuals like you, and they don't understand the sense of, duty that goes into watchmaking and delivering this to a customer. Being able to be a good storyteller, because you're not selling just, a basic watch. You're selling an experience, an emotion. You're selling history, basically, with every single watch. And people who know this industry, they can appreciate it. So it's extremely eye-opening for me and insightful to listen to you talking. Basically, I'm forgetting to ask questions because I'm, focused on listening to your story as well. It's incredible.
Excuse me. So yeah, definitely Lange Söhne is a very special experience. And as I've said, the the form and manner of watches and the level of finishing just comment the accordance from oneself, no matter in what field are you working for the brand. If you're working for the brand, you just have to correspond to the product that the brand is producing. And if you work for Lange Söhne, then of course the expectations are very high, and these high expectations, they are touching up each field in the boutique, starting with how are you welcoming and furrowing the guests? How are you conducting your how are you conducting your sales ceremony? The advisory, the storytelling, the emotional part, but also some small things like your choice of beverages that are served in boutique. Everything has to be the best. This is and small details matter, because also people who are interested in Lange Söhne, who are buying Lange Söhne, they are caring about small details. So you have to be very cautious and careful. And but I think this is very interesting experience also for the future. So I'm definitely valuing that very high.
I believe absolutely, and I assume that their clientele is well known. I'm sure you have repeating customers.
Yes,
So
definitely.
do you need to basically tailor the experience
Definitely.
specifically to a specific store, or is it the same from boutique to boutique?
The experience, you mean the customer experience?
Yes. Yeah.
So basically, the customer experience is not only tailored to the specific store, because specific stores are placed in different markets, and different markets have different special things that you have to take care of and that you have to think about. But the experience is also tailored to each customer. So our watches are unique, and so are customers, and you definitely have to acknowledge that, and the customers are also expecting that. You have to adjust, and you have to tailor the experience for the customer, because at the end, the question is also always, I think this was also the part of your question, how are you relating to the customers and their needs? First, you have to, and this is, I think, one of the most underestimated skills in the retail business, or also in the sales management. First, you have to find out what are the needs of the customers, because I think hearing is more important than listening. So being able to hear the customer is not the same as being able to listen to the customer. You have also to focus on their actual needs, because also it's not always the case where the need is exactly the one that was communicated to you. So you have to read between the lines, for example, and this is very important. I think if you are working in sales that are requiring emotional part very strongly, it's also important to have the basic idea of how the human psychology is working, because otherwise you just will not succeed. This is probably sufficient if you are selling industry steel, then it's okay. Because then you just need to check different European norms and codes for different steel alloys, and then it's fine. But still, you have to be up to date regarding the current market prices. But in this field, the psychology part is also very important. And You just have to ask yourself, who are the people who are acquiring these watches and what may be their expectations? And then you just have to do everything in order to not only to meet these expectations, but to create the unexpected. This was, for example, the thing that I learned at IWC, create unexpected. This was our slogan in retail. And the same is, of course, the case for every brand that wants to succeed. What is also important is to rethink the basic concept of willing to please your boss. Because the problem is that you can't please your superiors and your customers equally well and at the same time. And good leaders understand that. So you have to prioritize. You have to prioritize and you have to adapt to opt for the customer and the brand. And the paradox to this is, if you will go for the customer and the brand, in the long run, you will also please your boss. But first, you have to be the advocate of the customer. And this part, I think, is valid not only for the sales in the watch industry or for the sales with strong emotional involvement. It's the case for every sales.
Will, I can say that, first of all, these were all my questions, and you answered in great depth. You took me on a journey on this, and I admire the professionalism. I admire the connection you have with the item, which at this point, we're not just talking about an item. I view it more as a book full of experiences. I don't view it as a watch. Also, I admire the fact that you're a true gentleman in this era. It's just like, very, very refreshing for me to see. What else can I say? It set me up for the rest of the day. It was my face like aches from smiling all the time. So
George, it's nice to hear. Thank you. I'm happy to hear. I'm glad to hear that I managed to provide some fresh input. Sure.
You did. It was extremely insightful, and especially the logic of trying to read in between the lines, manipulating in a positive way, of course, the psychology, studying psychology. People don't necessarily see that if they don't have the experience. So this coming from you, it's straight up golden advice for someone who wants to get into sales, and they have to pay attention into these details because most people don't. But the people who want to get into the business, I'm sure they will be benefiting from you, from your experience.
I hope so. I hope so.
Absolutely. So have a beautiful day. It was an honor and a pleasure to talk to you, and maybe we'll catch up again in the future. So bye.
Have a beautiful day too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.